All right, we're back on the Rob Dibble Show. Michael Johnson Jr. is still playing beach volleyball somewhere in the United States. Nikki Nukes Federico want to discuss some baseball here. It's a Friday, so we're going to have some fun. We're going to go back and revisit the Pete Alonso home run that wasn't. I'm still bitter about that, but listen, it happened in Cincinnati. Bill Dorn hit a home run. Remember when Lou Piniella throws the base?
Yeah.
That was because the umpires blew the call. 20 feet fair.
Right.
I mean, and you could see where it landed in the second deck. It's so bad. And they didn't have replay back then in the 90s.
So that's a bad call.
That's a bad call.
This is a bad call. And what?
And the replay is too insufficient to overturn the bad call on the field.
Were they seeing what we saw?
Did you just see the other night the fair ball, the guy called foul? It hit right on the line? These umpires suck.
Down the first baseline.
That was terrible. And it's supposed to be the way they turn, and the ball comes inside of them. It's a fair ball. It was inside the umpire, and he calls it foul.
I think it was the Marlins game. And it wound up being influential in the game.
Yes,
I think
it cost them a run.
It cost them a run that they wound up losing by. Ball hit the entirety of the foul line going up the first baseline.
I can see we explained this yesterday, so they don't have cameras on the walls. And the reason is because they think it's too cost prohibitive. They're like, we don't want to do it on every stadium. And again, I'm still waiting to be told how they do ABS. It's just me, but where are the cameras?
Yeah.
How? And here's another thing.
Is it consistent with
Forget your replay for a second.
Yeah.
They had the replay of the Mets with 3 assists from the outfield the other night. They are saying on SportsCenter that the right fielder Benji threw it 103 miles an hour from right field. I want to see where that was on the gun. I want to see the gun. First one was 99. The second one was 103. You're telling me now there's some fool sitting there with a gun behind home plate on the right fielder? Get the hell out of here. That's total BS. Anyway, back to your call. They don't have cameras out there, but you know who does? The TV people.
Yeah.
They don't go to those TV replays. So the Yankees broadcast, the Orioles broadcast, they've got the call. And they're both like, it's fair.
Yeah.
They come back, they're like, after review, it's the call on the field stands. And I was telling Nick this, Kurt, they don't want to show each other up.
Right.
They do enough of it right now with the ABS. They embarrass the umpires. These guys are awful at calling balls and strikes. Some guys are awful at questioning the ABS, and when they do it early in the game, it really is upsetting. But that call should have been overturned. It should have been a home run. I err on the side of giving the dude the home run, not the foul ball.
Well, it sounds like the system doesn't work, frankly. It just doesn't. I mean, if you get one wrong...
That's what the Orioles said. The Orioles were like, your technology sucks.
Yeah.
We hate it.
It was their stadium, though, wasn't it?
It's their stadium,
Camden Yards.
but they can't use their own broadcasts or their own cameras. But they went to, and we talked about this, so they have technology. They have ridiculous technology. They have technology that can predict what pitches are coming and stuff like that. That goes back to 2017 with the Astros. They have now trajectory technology to where it's on the tablets in the dugout where I can go in and see where my ball went my last at bat. The trajectory, this is where the Orioles are questioning the call on the field. The trajectory has it as a home run. So that technology that's in the dugout, they're like, that's a home run. So that's why they're like, question that call right there. Okay? So, all the new technology is better than humans. That's why they're talking about AI. They're talking about all this other stuff. But the technology's already ahead of baseball when it comes to, and I was joking earlier because we would have a piece of paper and it would be some guy that was, one of the smarter coaches, and he's writing down where those outs went. That's how they're keeping score. And so when you see here's all 29 home runs of Pete Alonso, and you've got the trajectory and stuff like that, that's legit now.
Where are they getting all the factors from, though? I mean, we're talking a little gust of wind, a little breeze,
this thing called
an airplane goes by that is not factored into the program.
It's called the TrackMan. There's actual things like at a golf course that they have like at the Travelers on their driving range that can follow the trajectory of these objects. It's kind of like radar and airplanes. So they have the technology. It's in the dugout. It's in the stadium. I just want to see it. I want you to tell me where it is. I want to know, because then I can question it better. I can't question those. I can't, if you don't show me New York and the camera angles that they didn't overturn that call, then I can't bitch as much as I want to bitch if I'm a coach or a player.
Well, this is exactly the point I was about to bring up, right? So the umpires going back to the Pete Alonso, home run call, fair or foul. The umpires are not only conferring amongst themselves,
right,
but they're talking in the earpiece with Manhattan, with the headquarters of Major League Baseball,
yes,
where they have all of those alternative camera angles. Why is it that in the 21st century, in 2026, we at home, whether you're watching on Yes Network, watching the Yankees feed, or you're watching on Masson with the Orioles feed, why aren't we getting access to those camera angles that Major League headquarters is using to make the call on the field? Because I'll tell you this, the morning after I logged on to Twitter or X, and I was seeing those alternative angles that they used to deem that it was a fair ball, or a foul ball, rather. Why weren't those readily available during the live broadcast?
Those are all great questions. Here's my thing, the gambling aspect. That home run changes the run differential in the game. If I have money, FanDuel, DraftKings, if I have money on the game,
yep,
you might have just cost me thousands of dollars. I'm not happy about that. So the fans, they have a right to know how that call was not overturned. And I think, listen, if you're going to tell me that we're using this technology, and I'm going to back up 20 years here. When I was at ESPN, I went out there. They sent me out there, Baseball Tonight. Our crews were out there with Major League Baseball, with the umpires union, and they were explaining. And Sandy Alderson, who was the general manager, president of the Mets a few years ago, was explaining how many calls they missed. This was when they had Quest Tech.
Yeah.
They missed over 10,000 pitches that were called balls because it wouldn't affect the umpires' postseason statistics. So they erred on the call a ball.
Right.
I'm on the mound. I want you to call those strikes.
If it's a strike.
That's why they supposedly developed this ABS. So the ABS is supposed to be foolproof. If it's foolproof, show me how you do it. It's kind of like a magician. When people started giving away the tricks and how they're done.
Yeah.
Okay, I would still go and see a magician, even if I knew how he was doing the tricks.
I think you need the transparency when you factor in the DraftKings and FanDuel and stuff like that.
There's a lot of money riding on these. It's the same thing with extra points in football. It's the same thing with goals in hockey. Taking goals away. You're taking a goal away where you can go back and look at offsides.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then, everything's explained a little bit differently. Now I might not put money on this hockey game. Maybe I won't put hockey on this Yankees-Orioles game next time. I mean, listen, you need to give me more information than we're just not going to change that call, even though it was wrong on the field, or whether it was right or wrong on the field. It wasn't overturned, and it could have been overturned, and it could have changed the outcome of the game.
And I'll tell you what, in the National Hockey League, I watch a lot of hockey,
yes,
Rob.
You do.
There is no margin for error. There's no discrepancy. They show you on the live broadcast when you're watching a hockey game and they're challenging
the line.
When they're challenging offsides or challenging if the puck fully crossed the goal line before the horn goes off. They're showing you inside the Toronto headquarters where the control booth is with all of the people rewinding the video. There's transparency. We don't get that in Major League Baseball. Hardly ever. We just see whatever camera angle is readily available on your local broadcast. And half the time, even with the Pete Alonso home run, Michael Kay on Yes Network and David Cohn, they were just as clueless as we were. They had no idea what the call was going to be. They're like, oh, well, we think it actually might get overturned to a fair ball based on what we're seeing, but we don't know what they're looking at in Manhattan. Shame on Major League Baseball because they have all the ability to have
you're a
all
Yankees
of the
fan.
angles ready.
Listen to this. You're like arguing for Alonso. And it's not that I'm arguing for Pete. I told the story yesterday. that when I was, traveling around with ESPN, that I had to travel around. I got Sammy Sosa. Somebody else had Mark McGwire. So I'm at every one of Sosa's games because I would break into like sports. Yeah. Right. So I would break in and do an update or whatever. Every at bat. It was like Barry Bonds when he was chasing down Hank Aaron's record and all that kind of stuff, and McGuire's record. So anyway, our technology had Sosa with a home run. The umpires got it wrong. They said it was a double. We clearly saw it go over the fence, bounce on the stairs, and come back in. Oh. So he should have finished with 67. He got robbed. But it would have made the home run chase more interesting.
Yes, it would.
Because they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's the whole thing. I just want you to get it right. Just get it right.
Well, the gambling thing in 1919, was Kennesaw Ferguson, what was the last name?
Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Mountain Landis. I'm getting it wrong. So he gets rid of all of them because we needed the credibility of the game. They're losing the credibility of the game with this stuff. And they might want to take a page from the NHL. The NHL gets a lot of other things right that Major League Baseball just flat out does not. And one is the marketing. They're actually marketing some people in the NHL. Yeah. It's like, wow.
They're pushing their young stars. Unlike poor Mike Trout. Mike Trout spent a decade plus now with the Angels, and he's gotten jack squat out of it.
How about the NBA? The NBA does an amazing job of pushing their young stars. WNBA does a nice job. Football does a great job.
They're household names immediately.
Yeah. Baseball's starting to allow more highlights on X and Instagram and Facebook, but it's not the way it should be.
No, definitely not.
It should, be pumping it up. I mean, it's just, you want to sell the best parts of your product. You don't want to fight tooth and nail to get every call right. Just do it. Just get it right.
I think we were talking about the gambling aspect of things. You brought it up first, then Kerr, you were just touching on it. I think it's a big talking point because now with how readily available sports betting is, it's at the touch of your fingertips on your iPhone. Yeah. DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM, whatever have you, whatever sports book you're logging into. You can place bets on the fly during the games now. You have all sorts of, we talked about the player prop issue with all the betting scandals.
Let me stop you there. In the middle of all of these games, they're pushing the gambling.
Yeah,
they're telling you to gamble
constantly.
But you're going to mess with the game, and you're going to screw up the statistics. How about the fantasy baseball aspect?
Yeah. It's scary because now every single time there's a call that's going back and forth, and you're not sure if it's the right call or the wrong call, and you're not seeing the right camera angles, like the Pete Alonso thing. A lot of the general public's going to be like, oh, well, this game's fixed. They're screwing me out of my bet and my money.
Right. And to your point, they always go over like three things that to look for this game. And one of them's usually like a home run from Pete Alonso or a home run from Holiday or whatever, or one hit from this guy, plus 200 and stuff like that. Okay, let me run and put some money down on Alonso for a home run. How pissed are you now? I'll never watch it again. I mean, I don't want you to be that way. I want it to be like, all right, you won. You got a home run.
Yeah,
you're going to come back. You're going to maybe double your bet. Everything. I'm a positive person.
Yeah.
And listen, Pete Alonso got screwed. Pete Alonso. I want Pete to have 50 home runs this year, not 30, not 35.
Would have been his 30th.
Yeah, it would have been his 30th home run, and the Mets look like fools for letting him go, and that's a good story. I mean, it's just I want more feel-good stories, like the kid that hit the 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats.
Yeah, was something Joshua Baez.
Joshua Baez. But then it's like the first home run that this other kid hit, I think it was for the White Sox or the Tigers, and they show the fan come in, and he signs 3 balls for him and a couple of bats, and it's a great picture. That's priceless. That's a lifelong moment, and it's something that family will never forget, and that player will never forget. That's what Major League Baseball doesn't promote enough of.
George Lombard Jr., his first career game, he hits a home run with his parents on TV getting interviewed.
Yeah,
it's priceless. Those are the moments that we want,
and that's what I'm talking about. So the family came back after the game, gets to meet him.
Yep.
and gets that moment. And so now that kid that was there with the parents and stuff like that, he'll remember that the rest of his life. He'll be a lifelong George Lombard Jr. fan, Yankee fan, baseball fan, and pass it on to the next generation.
My mom would like these stories. Like it gets beyond sports. So when you sell those kinds of stories,
well, that's what it's all about.
That's where your growth is, though.
But it's signing autographs after the game.
Yes.
Like Paige Beckers has been doing this stuff. The one thing I love about UConn, and it's not just because they're a part of our network. It's UConn gets it. The men and the women basketball, they get it. They give prizes out to the fans after the game, so the kids have something to do. It's like with Jeff Dooley. We just talked to Jeff Dooley running the bases on Sundays. Okay, it's their experience.
Yeah.
It's to some, it's an experience. To others, like myself and you guys, it's baseball or it's football or whatever. But for some 5-year-old little kid to do like the goat race, put the little goat uniform on and run behind the bases during the game.
A childhood memory.
It's a childhood memory.
Yeah, I got one of those from when the AHL franchise of Springfield, known as the Indians at that point, they were playing at the Big E Coliseum, and you used to be able to skate. If you brought your skates, you could go down after. I can remember that. I was 4 years old. It's like that was amazing.
So on the day, every day I would do something, and try to be good to the fans, whether I was home or on the road. So we're at Shea Stadium, and Eric Davis would give me his old wristbands, and I'd go out and shag for the hour and a half I was out there, catching fly balls from our hitters. And he's like, "Hey, when you're done with them, just throw them in the stands." I literally take them off, and they're not mine. It says Eric Davis. Remember, their faces were on them. So I throw it up in the stands. My agent, once I retired from baseball, was the guy that caught the wristband.
Wow.
1989.
Wow.
And he was my agent in like 2000. That's how I met him.
That's crazy.
He got a hold of my high school coach, gave me his number, got me a job with XM. Okay?
Crazy.
That's his experience at that game, was that this opposing player threw me an Eric Davis wristband, and he's like, "Would you sign it?"
Nuts.
Okay? That's
Nuts.
what I'm
That's
talking
just
about.
nuts.
That's how small the world is. So many people go to these games, maybe once in their life.
Yeah.
And so if they catch a home run or they catch a foul ball, and that's why you should give it to kids. That's why we would always scream from the dugout, give it to a kid. We really didn't like when adults would keep balls and be like, there's like one guy's got like 5,000 baseball.
Zach Hampel.
Yeah, how many times have you ever given a kid one of those balls, you tool? Okay? Some 3-year-old little girl or 3-year-old little boy, you hand them a Yankee ball, a foul ball, or a Red Sox foul ball, or whatever. That kid will have that memory, that memento for the rest of their life. Okay? Maybe they get a Red Sox to sign it. Maybe they don't. But again, these are the things that the players, we think about. I was always thinking about that. Marge Schott saw me in Fulton County Stadium. I caught a foul ball when I was warming up to go in the game. Threw it up in the stands. She fined me $50. The general manager had to explain to her, those aren't your balls, they're the Braves balls, because they were at Fulton County Stadium. So he literally didn't give away one of your balls, Marge. You can't fine him.
Wow.
I had to go through this stuff. We were at Wrigley. We would give away balls all the time.
$50?
Well, we didn't get caught.
Oh,
but
man.
Larry Rothschild would get really ticked off at us because he had to count them and bring back a certain amount to Marge, or he'd get in trouble.
Wow.
This is the stuff we did, man. It's crazy.
Keeping tabs on the budget.
Keeping tabs on the balls, the bats, broken bat. You couldn't give broken bats away. Marge wanted to sell them in the gift shop. Your hat. I'd take Kurt's hat. If I wanted a new one, I'd have to get a requisition like the Army, and to get a new one, and she'd take the old, sweaty, disgusting one and sell it in the gift shop for $50.
Wow.
We lived that life. That was our life. But, I don't tell these stories all the time because you'd really have a different view of Marge Schott. But, yeah, that was everything.
A different kind of perception.
Everything, a different kind of perception. All right,